arguably the most important part of this mug. I'm going to give him a nice little butt crack, a little booty on the back, just to add a little bit more flavor to my little gentleman I'm making. Hi, my name's Clarissa and welcome to Uncanny Art. This is a video series where we'll be working with ceramics, sewing, and other mixed media sculpture materials. Since fall is my favorite season, I figured that I would kick things off by making a pumpkin mug. So let's get started. To start my mug, I'm going to serve myself a slab of clay out of my bag and roll that out to become the base of the cup. So this is about 1/4 inch, which is going to be great. I use a metal rib to compress the clay and to make sure that the surface is nice and smooth before I start using coils to build the height of the cup. Once my clay is smoothed out with the metal rib, I'm going to start scoring and slipping to begin the attachment process to build upwards with coils. Once I've rolled out the first coil, I'm going to score the side that I'm going to attach to the slab base so that it has a really nice firm attachment. I'm pushing down that coil onto the surface of the slab, and I'll need to pinch up the walls of the coil in order to give it a little bit more height and also to thin out the coil that I've just put on. Making sure to smooth on the interior of the coil as well as the exterior after I cut off the part of the slab that I'm not using. Here I'm going to repeat the same process over again for both the second and the third coil, scoring to attach, scoring the other side of the coil, and then pinching the coil upwards. I want the walls of the cup to be over 1/4 inch thick because I'm going to end up pushing the walls out to make the shape of a pumpkin. So I'll need a little extra material there to be able to do so without it becoming too thin. I use the edge of a metal rib to compress and smooth the clay as I go. Once the cup is nice and smoothed out, I'm just going to cut a more even rim using my needle tool. Now I'm going to start pushing the cup out from the center to make a more circular pumpkin-like shape. I like to bevel the edge of the bottom of the cup to give it a little bit more float and also to help reinforce that shape. After the cup is smoothed out, I'm going to start making the ridges that you usually see on pumpkins. I can push in these ribs using either my finger or using my wooden knife tool. Mapping it out with my wooden knife tool is really helpful because it makes sure that I don't end up with two that are too close to each other at the end. Here I'm pushing out the high points of these ridges even further to give it a little bit more of a dynamic shape. Now it's time to start drawing my jack-o'-lantern face. I freehanded this. You could do a drawing first to make sure you like the face that you're putting onto your cup, or you can just go with whatever happy little jack-o'-lantern face feels good to you in the moment. I decided to make a smiling jack-o'-lantern instead of something a little bit more spooky. And I'm going to just use a sculpting tool that I have that has a flat edge and push in the areas of the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Arguably the most important part of this mug, I'm going to give him a nice little butt crack, a little booty on the back, just to add a little bit more flavor to my little gentleman I'm making. So I add 2 patties of clay and then just carve out the crack nice and deep so that we can really see that butt. Now I'm going to make a handle to put on the mug. I'm going to do this by rolling out another coil and then tapping it out with my hand to flatten it. After I cut it to the length that seems right, I'm going to flip it over and use the table to help sculpt it out more to make it the right size and shape for my mug. In order to attach this, I need to make sure to score and slip well, and then I'm going to support the inside as I push this handle onto my cup and smooth out the areas where it's attaching. Now that I've put on the handle, it's time to do some of the fun little details on the surface. I like to make my pumpkins really warty, and so I'm going to attach a lot of little pieces of clay and use different tools to create texture on the surface to make the pumpkin look like it has a ton of warts on it. I'm adding vines onto the handle as well, which are going to wrap both into the inside of the mug as well as onto the side from where they are on the handle. I both add vines onto the surface as well as using a tool to carve away different areas to make it look like it has depth. After I finish sculpting the mug, it's time to clean things up a bit. I'll go in with a paintbrush, a sponge, and a metal rib to help refine things. So now we've finished building the form of the mug, but we still have some steps to do until it's completely finished. So I'm going to wait for it to dry up just a little bit, and then I'm going to go in with the Underglaze and add a couple coats of color. Before the mug is ready to go into the kiln, I'm going to do a base coat of orange over the outside using Amaco Underglaze. Using green, I'll go in and paint a base coat on the vines of the handle as well. It's okay for the first coat of Underglaze to not be perfect, since we'll be going over it again after we get it out from the first firing. The next step is all about refining the color. First, I'll go in with Underglaze and add a couple coats in different areas, and then I'll also cover the entire surface of the mug with glaze before it goes back into the kiln for its final firing. Now it's time to use black Underglaze to stain the surface of the mug. This is one of my favorite stages since it adds so much depth and dimension. Now I'm going to use black Underglaze and paint into the eyes, nose, and mouth of the jack-o'-lantern. I like to mix a slightly warmer orange to add some variation to the surface. Next, I'm going to dry brush lighter green over the surface of the vines of the handle as well as the warts. Now it's time to glaze the mug. First, I'm going in with an obsidian black glaze. I'm doing 3 coats on the inside as well as 3 coats on the eyes, nose, and mouth. I'm using a satin clear glaze on the outside, and I'm doing 2 thin coats over the entire surface. Now, as a final touch, I'm putting my signature on the bottom of this mug before it heads to the glaze firing. This firing is going to turn the glaze into glass on the surface, and with that, we have our finished mug. So now we have a fully finished and fully functional pumpkin mug. I'm really excited about how this came out. I love how the speckles in this clay body came through the orange in the finished form, and I'm excited to drink a cup of tea out of this. If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and write to me in the comments if you have any questions. Until then, I hope you all take care of yourselves, and I hope that you go on and make some weird stuff of your own. Oh my God, okay. I have like 2 brain cells that are rubbing together right now. Ah! Oh, my ears. Oh, sorry, I forgot you're wearing a mic. Okay, I'm sorry.